Hi, it's Larry Gaines. I wanted to send out this Trading Club alert. Now I want you to be alerted to the fact that the Russell 2000 is having an interesting move here the last few days. Number one, today we're starting to, this is Friday, we're starting to break above the 21 moving average on the daily time frame. We're also coming right into this trend line from this pivot high to that pivot high extension down. Now we're also in a daily squeeze, and we're currently, the volume's light, but want to make sure that you're aware of this potential development, because if this does start going and breaking this trend line and having more fall through to the upside, it's going to really affect the rest of the broad markets, the equity markets in the US. So let's review some of the other charts and information on the Russell 2000. So this is the futures you're seeing here. Now here's a view of the Russell 2000 futures on a weekly or long-term time frame. So what you're going to see here is a couple things. One, we're having an engulfing candle. If we close about where we are right now, this is going to be an engulfing candle bar close, which is a very bullish pattern, and this is on a weekly or long-term time frame. Now you can see when we had this type pattern in the past, that came back on the week of the February the 10th here, and we had a fall through rally for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and it went from like 11.28 up to a high of 12.12. So that was on an engulfing bar pattern on the weekly long-term time frame. We're still also in a long-term squeeze here, so that's another condition which could pop and give more momentum. Now the other thing is we've come down to this 50 period moving average, and we're sitting right on it, so this is a level of support. A couple other things to note: the last time we had other engulfing candles was back here, back in December of 2012 on a weekly time frame, and it was basically back into the 50 moving average as well. A really strong engulfing candle on even less volume than we're seeing today, and then we had this big push to the upside, which really set off the current trend that we were in, that we broke coming into right in here into here actually. So this is something to definitely that you want to be aware of. So those are some very positive pattern recognitions for the Russell 2000. Now let's look at the momentum. Now here's the power cycle trading model, cycle 1, cycle 2. Nice strong momentum on the daily time frame, and you can see we're above the 21 period moving average, and if we could get a close above the 21 today and then start attacking this trend line on Monday, there's potential for a bigger move or a break to the upside. So wanted to make sure that you saw this, because it could develop into something. We've been in a pretty good long-term downtrend, so I think it's lost over 10% since the high. Here's the high. You can see it from the daily right here. Had a high of 12.70, and so we've been in this downtrend since March, about 2 months. So that's something to point out. Now the other times that we've had momentum shift right here, back in May, you can see that the cycle 2 momentum indicators were down right here, so there was no fall through. We have much better conviction to the upside with this momentum on power cycle 2 on the cycle 2 indicator, whereas right here when we got above the 21 we were not positive on cycle 2. Here we were not positive on cycle 1, so I call it neutral. Here we were positive on both, but we failed. There was another trend line that came in up here. So something that could develop into something, so I wanted to make sure you're aware of it. And one thing, I've picked up a little bit of IWM today, the July options, in case this does develop into something bigger. I'll keep my stop down here at 109.61. So this is IWM, and I went out and I bought the, I believe it's the 110 strike for July monthly to give me plenty of time. So wanted to get a little bit of position on in case this does develop into something. If it doesn't, so be it. But it's a game of probabilities, so just wanted to alert you to this potential shift in the market. Now the other thing though, keep an eye on bonds. So let's keep an eye on the bond market, because if that does develop in an uptrend, that's going to squash any move up on the equities here. So bonds are still hanging in there. Here's the 30-year Treasury, but you can see that the momentum is shifted to the downside. And here's the 10-year note. The 10-year note still hanging in there, but you can see momentum's come off. If this starts to push back up, though, that will hurt the U.S. equities. Now, one other thing to keep track of is the yen futures, and you can see the yen futures here. If this will go away, are starting to break to the downside. So this is a major correlation. If yens go down, when yen is down here, we've had a good push to the upside on equities. So those things are to be watched at. But I wanted to alert you on the fact of the Russell potentially starting to break and to the upside, potentially starting to bottom out. So keep an eye on it. Talk to you on the next update.